Okay, and I am live. All right. Want to record as well. Okay, well, here I am. This is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste. Today is the day of the new moon. Things got out of hand yesterday, and I did not have time to record this yesterday. So I am going live on YouTube, flying by the seat of my pants. My word of the year is fearless. And yeah, here we are. I'm an astrologer, coach, and intuitive, and I'm going to share my insights on this new moon in Taurus. Share my screen. So I'm calling this new moon the grounding because this is the medicine that I am going to recommend for getting ready. We are at the start. Actually, I feel like we are already in eclipse season, and eclipses are times of big change. So the first eclipse is on the 26th of the month at the full moon. So we should use the next 2 weeks to do some grounding as the energy starts to build and swirl. So I just absolutely love this quote. We humans have lost the wisdom of genuinely resting and relaxing. We worry too much. We don't allow our minds and hearts to heal. And it's so important to take time to rest and relax. The moon cycle encourages us to do so. And Taurus is all about the senses and getting embodied. And so this is a really, really, really good time to treat your body right, treat your mind right, and take some time to slow down and relax. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why we work with the moon phases, the Taurus archetype, the chart of this new moon, both for ourselves and what we might see in the larger society and in the collective, and what this new moon means for you. So the whole purpose of working with the lunar cycles is to make the unconscious conscious. The sun speaks to our identity, essence, our life force, outward expression, what we want, where most people are familiar and connected in with their sun signs. The moon is more inward. It's our emotions and our feelings, our instincts and intuition. It speaks to our needs. It often, a memory, the moon is memory. Our habits that we don't even understand. The moon rules the night and speaks to the inner world. The sun rules the day, speaks to the outer world. At the new moon, the sun and the moon stand together at the exact same degree. And, and throughout the year, we have an opportunity to have new moons in each of the 12 signs of the zodiac. So experience a different archetypal energy of the human psyche, and they whisper secrets to each other, connect in the dark, and we can use the growing light to bring forth what we want in our lives. Yes. So the new moon is always a time of beginnings. Seeds are planted in the dark. It's a good time for today and tomorrow to really just go inward. There's no need to push ourselves. Just let things percolate up. As the light grows and we set intentions, make wishes, have a ritual, contemplate and plan how you want to use the energy to bring what you want into your life. New moon times are wonderful times to initiate projects, start new relationships, quit bad habits. Um, begin new routines, and for business to plan business launches or start the promotion process for something you want to bring forward. So with the moon cycle, there are 8 phases, but really, I really encourage you to work with the 4 that are hard aspects. So where the moon and the sun are making the loudest noise together. And so that's the new moon when they're together, and we're talking about that now. It's this week is when we plant seeds in the dark and let the story begin. Yes, and then a week from now, there'll be the first quarter moon where they're making a 90-degree angle to one another, and you can see the moon is half lit. So it really is a crisis of action at that point. So now is this week is a time to listen to the inner voice, see what comes to light as the light grows, and then at the first quarter moon, we'll be able to make decisions and see things more clearly. And then we continue to like really make that push the next week till we get to the full illumination of the full moon. And as I mentioned, this is going to be a lunar eclipse. This summer is going to be lit. It's a lot of energy. And apologies, should be 5 Sagittarius. Apologies, I will fix the slide before sending it out. Yes, it's 5 Sagittarius. And then over the next week, we, make final cleanup, find the wisdom, rewards and consequences are available. And there's another, it's more like a crisis of conscience was a really good time to think about the lessons learned. And as the light diminishes, we go into a cycle of rest until we come back into the dark and we start again. And so there are these 29-day cycles that we can work on our smaller goals to move things forward. Well, one of my new moon things is to do my taxes. I've been putting off. So that's, something that's going to be done within the month, or actually the week, as they're due next Monday. But there are also these larger cycles, these 27-month cycles, and where the sun and moon are at this activating points, those hard aspects every 9 months. So today we're starting with the new moon, planting seeds in the dark. And things are starting in your life, whether you realize them or not, around where Taurus is in your chart, especially if you have planets close to 15 to 21 degrees of Taurus, because these activations happen at about the same degree every 9 months. So think of it like it's a gestational cycle, like the baby's born. So what we start now, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we will be able to see the light, see something about it in February. So we're planting seeds. We'll see the light in February, the light in the full moon in next year in November, and reap rewards or consequences in August of 2023. So now the sun and moon are in Taurus. At the first quarter, the sun will be in Aquarius and the moon will be making a right angle to it in Taurus. At the full moon, the sun will be in Scorpio and the moon will be in Taurus. And at the last quarter, it's the sun in Leo, making that hard aspect again to the moon in Taurus. So these are all the fixed signs: Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, in Aquarius. They're the fixed signs. And so people with placements around these degrees will feel these things most strongly. But think about what you want to grow over this longer cycle. For myself personally, I have retired from my corporate career, 25 plus year, really wonderful career in sales, business development, and marketing in the life science industry. And I am now a full-time astrologer, coach, and intuitive. So I am planting seeds about growing my business. And I decided I'm a Cancer rising. This new moon is in my 11th house of hopes and dreams. I have put it out in the universe. I want to be an astrology hub guide by the last quarter moon. So yes, I do. Okay. So Taurus is an earth element. So it's really, as I mentioned, about being embodied, bringing things down to earth, enjoying enjoying the senses, the five senses, as it's ruled by Venus, the planet love and beauty, and just the enjoyment of things. It's a fixed modality. So Taurus can really hold the energy. It's known for being stubborn, is one of the key words for Taurus, and not wanting to move, not wanting to change. And it's so interesting. All Tauruses are going through a revolution in some aspect of their life, because Uranus, the planet of change, the great awakener, sudden events, is in the sign of Taurus. I can remember to the day when I just had this inner knowing that, what was I doing with my life? What did I want to, something I knew I needed change. I did not know what it was. That was back in 2018. And I'm sure it was right around the time that Taurus went into, Uranus went into Taurus. Yes. And it's taken this time. It's going to hit my sun on June 7th. So yeah, it took a while to understand what I wanted to change, figure out the form, but I used the moon cycles to bring my dreams to earth, and you can too. So Taurus rules the second house of resources, income, security, our values, what we value. It also speaks to self-esteem. The key word, I have. What is ours? And what is yours will never pass you by. It's a good thing to remember. Oh, here are the Taurus archetypes. Key words. So archetypes are the Earth Mother, the silent one. Taurus really speaks to nature. It's such wonderful Taurus medicine to just go take a walk slowly, quietly, in and enjoy the senses. See, just enjoy through your eyes. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you smelling? Just be embodied with this Taurus energy. Venus rules Taurus. So also the creator, the artist, the singer are archetypes of Taurus. Taurus is also about, that physical touch and the sensualist, the sensual, enjoying the sensual pleasures. Taurus is receptive. Venus is receptive. Being yin is in action, being the object of desire. Taurus also speaks to magnetizing what you want to yourself, drawing it in. Yeah, so stable, grounded, stubborn, security seeking. These are all Taurus key words and ideas. Yes. And on the shadow side, being greedy, Taurus's rules are resources, or wanting to hoard things, can speak to that Taurian energy on the shadow side. Just being obstinate for no reason, just like getting like digging your heels in, and just think of the bull just not wanting to move no matter what, not listening to reason, speaks to this Taurus energy as well. So here is the chart of the new moon in Taurus. One of the nicest things about it is there's, that there's more elemental balance. It's not so heavily focused in on one side. If you remember, there were 6 planets in Aquarius in the Aquarius new moon. That was just like, to the point it was almost suffocating. There was so much air. And then in Pisces season, there were so many planets in water. Some people maybe felt like they were drowning, and then we were going to burn up on fire in Aries season. But now there's some balance. We've got the new moon and Uranus in Taurus, and then we've got Mercury and Venus and Mercury and Venus in Gemini, Mars in Cancer. And so there's more spreading of this energy. There's no fire in the sky except Chiron. So you may find you need to kind of push yourself to get going a little bit, fire, the life-giving force. But there's air. There's fresh air with all this Gemini. There's the grounding of Taurus with all this earth. And then, the water of Mars and Cancer and Neptune in Pisces. Taurus is also exalted in the sign. The moon is also exalted in the sign of Taurus. Ever since Mercury went into Gemini, where it's going to retrograde in a couple of weeks, I have been having difficulties around Mercury retrograde topics. So in Gemini, saying the wrong words. So apologies for any wrong words that I don't catch myself saying. Hopefully it's still clear. But the moon is exalted, meaning having a special seat at the table in the sign of Taurus, because it gives us stability and support for the emotions. Yes, yes. Great. So some other features about this a new moon and how you can work with this energy is that it's trine Pluto, the power planet. That subconscious inner well of strength and determination and more in Capricorn. So really you can tap into your inner power and helps you. Pluto's all about transformation and burning off things that no longer serve you in order to bring to form what you want in your life. And that Mars sextile Uranus is also Mars, how we take action, and Uranus, the planet of change. Sextiles bring opportunity. So there's an opportunity for change. There's the power to do so. And there's a support and grounding with the Taurus energy to feel held while doing so. And that Gemini energy, Mercury in Gemini, brings the mental processes and the thoughts and the words, so what you want to bring forward into your life. So there is so much beauty in this new moon. It's also sextile Neptune, the mist, the fog, the planet of illusions and delusions, but it also speaks to an opportunity for compassion, to see other people's point of view, to have some forgiveness, and really important to avoid escapism or letting yourself get into denial with this new moon sextiling Neptune. And as well with Taurus, that Venusian quality of wanting to enjoy the senses. Just watch for overindulgence with both the Neptune influence and the Jupiter influence, because the new moon is approaching a square to Jupiter, the planet of expansion. Just wants you to just go big and be excessive. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, and the closing aspect of the moon, which kind of speaks to the whole flavor, the moon is squaring Jupiter before it moves on into Gemini. So the last aspect is a kind of tense aspect. Now, Jupiter activations are generally gentle, but just really watch for overindulgence. Like if you see something that looks fantastic and does not fit your budget, put don't close the window on the computer, leave the store. This is not a time to make big purchases um, over the next couple days, or really, I would just avoid making big purchases this month unless you really have to. Okay, but definitely not something unexpected. Really take time to think about it before you do it, or there is the potential for regret. So one of the toughest aspects is this Mars in Cancer. Cancer is the sign of the family, the home, the hearth, squaring Chiron in Aries, a fire sign. So this water and fire can make steam. So there's the potential, and it's so much easier to destroy rather than to create. So there's potential to hurt loved ones, especially lashing out at family. So keep in mind to watch that. And Mars is answering into the moon. So now while it's in Taurus, it has this extra grounding, but people can dig into their obstinance. And as we move through the different signs, while Mars is still in Cancer, watch every couple of days to watch how your actions or impulses change, because it's a time of more variability with the actions and the impulses in the internal world. But use this energy instead to heal. So Chiron is the wounded healer. So great time to have this security and the safety to work with the ones you love the most in order to heal old wounds, or to just heal your own wounds. Aries speaks to the self. Yes. So Mercury and Venus are in Gemini. So this brings some lightness, adaptability, and imagination. I love Venus in Gemini. Actually, I have Venus in Gemini natally. So yes, I do. Let's see, where is she? Okay. Mine is at 7. So it's going to be a couple days before I have my Venusian return. And notice I am just talking a lot, because that Venus and Mercury and Gemini, it just makes us chatty and sociable and wanting to share information. And I am sharing information you do not need to know, in addition to what you need to know. Okay, but yeah, enjoy this really wonderful time to safely socialize with friends or date, flirting. This is a wonderful time to get your flirt on. And remember, a closed mouth does not get fed. So if there's something you want, ask for it. And some person may say no, but at least you asked, and you will have no regrets about that. Mercury is also conjunct the North Node, which speaks to where we are going as a collective and for ourselves. And Gemini speaks to being curious, taking in information, seeing other people's points of view, learning new skills, networking. So I want you to listen intently. So when it being conjunct the North Node, listen intently, look for signs and signals that are going to point you on your way of where you want to go. And you've got a lot of time to enjoy this mercurial energy in Gemini, as Mercury is going to go retrograde on the 29th. So going into the shadow of it on the 15th. So things between the 15th and the 29th, be really aware, because they're going to come back up again in the retrograde period. And I talked about this on my Instagram live, and maybe I'll go on again for Sunday. You can go to my Instagram channel, and actually it's on Facebook as well, at Astrology by Celeste, and listen to that, because I talked and gave more information about the dates and what's happening with Mercury retrograde. Okay. So also, I like to think about what's going on in the collective as well. So what I've talked about is how these things can work in your own life, and this can work in your own life as well. But thinking about, the larger story of where we are, and Jupiter is at the 29th degree of Aquarius. So each sign has 30 degrees running from 0 to 29. The 29th degree is the anaretic degree. It's a critical degree. It's at this point, there's so much energy has built. It's like the archetypal signature of the planet needs to express itself before moving on to this next sign. And if you recall, January 6th, Mars was at 29 degrees of Aries. All hell broke loose in the United States, where people tried to overthrow the government. And yeah, that was that 29th degree, that Martian energy of wanting to fight. Now it's Jupiter in Aquarius. And to me, this speaks to dramatic expressions. Jupiter is a planet of expansion, goes big. In Aquarius, the sign of the rebel. So we're seeing it all over the world about this, people seeking independence, revolution. What's going on in Myanmar is just awful. That speaks to the Saturn Uranus squares, which is the theme of the whole year. Fighting against structures, the rebel Uranus fighting against Saturn, the entrenched structure, the authority, the government. So I wonder if we'll see something in Myanmar. In France, just came to my attention yesterday that people are fighting against Macron. Certain factions of the military are fighting against, are threatening the Macron, the leader of France, about the Islamic. I guess he bent to some Islamic demands or something. The Muslim people in France, there was some kind of bending to what they wanted, and these more nativistic military people are threatening him. And so there is that potential, of revolution over there as well. We're seeing this nativism all over the place. And this speaks to this Aquarius energy of people who are different as well. So yes, and I'll leave that there, as I'm struggling with my words. But there's also what's called a yod, and a yod is an energy. It's called the finger of God, which is awfully dramatic. But what we have here, it looks like an isosceles triangle with two sides the same length. So from Uranus, the Great Awakener, revolution, the electricity it's called a quincunx to the south node, and the south node is quincunx to Mars, and Mars and Uranus are sextiling each other at the base. So the south node really speaks to what we're moving away from. The south node in Sagittarius speaks to, having entrenched ideas about things. Like Sagittarian things are like your larger philosophy, your religion, thinking that, just because you think it is right. Sagittarius, the centaur. So it speaks to a south node in Sagittarius, speaks to getting off your high horse and having some curiosity about other ideas besides those of yourself. Sagittarius also speaks to the military, speaks to the police. Last year, when we had the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, that was right when all hell broke loose in the U.S. around the George Floyd's murder, and there were massive protests, and some of them turned into riots, and And that was that huge energy with that Sagittarian thing. And so stuff is going on in Israel with the state and fighting again against the Palestinian people. I mentioned France. We know what's happening in the United States with the MAGA people versus the government, that versus the old guard Republicans and all of that. So I think we're going to be seeing more and more of that. And Myanmar, I mentioned. So I see this yod as freedom fighting, reckless, really reckless actions. This Mars in Cancer can speak to nativism, which goes back as well to what I was saying about France. And Uranus, there's really an easy opportunity energy, their exact same degree for this fighting. And the South Node can speak to impulsive actions. This energy is a little it's an uncomfortable energy that needs adjustment. But for our own lives, we can use this to release the old story, to make changes, to intentionally help us release the old story and have curiosity going forward. So there are also some fixed stars involved. So the South Node conjunct Antares is indicative of obsession, intensity. There's also, I feel like there's all this energy around with Mars and Cancer, like fighting in the family. Domestic violence, we've seen in the US some just horrible, I mean, it's just a regular thing here, but there was somebody who killed 7 people at a birthday party. Kids were there as well just this past weekend. And yeah, there have been some other horrible stories about domestic violence. I think we'll see more of that, unfortunately. The moon is what's called parallel, Alhina and Aldebaran, which is Aldebaran is one of the fixed royal stars. It's one of the most important. And a parallel is similar to a conjunction. And this is the one who marches is Alhina. And I was like, oh no, what is going to happen next about the police, police brutality, or somebody getting, unarmed person getting shot by the police, because we're coming up on another lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. Oh goodness. I just hope we're not going to have another summer of needing to fight the injustice and people using the opportunity to riot again. But the one who marches in Aldebaran speaks to holding strong principles and beliefs. We're also seeing this, it's the former police officer who murdered George Floyd. Apparently someone on the jury, I guess, was dishonest about his understanding of the case or understanding of what happened or with George Floyd. And so he's trying to get another trial. So good God, that might be something happens in Mercury retrograde that we see. Now, also really interesting is Venus conjunct Merfak. Now, I don't know if I'm saying that name right, or any of the fixed stars really, but anyway, it is, Merfak speaks to male energy, like the young, boastful warrior. And I think Venus conjunct it, to me, speaks to the Liz Cheney situation. Liz Cheney is a congresswoman. She's the highest ranking congresswoman in the United States government. She's, her father was vice president, and she is kind of the old guard, and they are trying to throw her out of Congress, throw her out of, not Congress, but her power position. These people who've aligned themselves with the former guy. Yeah, so it's really interesting watching that. And that conjunction to me speaks to, you know, they I think they're going to be real sorry because it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. I'm going to have my popcorn popped. I think I'm going to do one of my stories about her because she has her Mars natally at 11 degrees of Cancer. So she is having a Mars return, and they will have bit off more than they can chew because she has her Sun and her Mercury and Leo. She is not going quietly. It's going to be dramatic, and they are going to be sorry. And I think this Mercury retrograde is going to bring up all the tea is going to be in the streets, and I will be here to keep you informed. Okay, so the Sabian symbol, and the Sabian symbols were this clairvoyant, I think it was the 1920s, Elsie Wheeler sat under a tree with an astrologer and went through every degree of the zodiac and channeled images. So the image for this Sabian symbol is a white dove flying straight and fearlessly over troubled water. And this is the medicine for this Taurus new moon. As I said, these next 2 weeks really get grounded. There is going to be turbulence all around ourselves. Pick your battles, know when to stay above the fray. And yes, and having that fearlessness that Aries season kind of imparted with us, I think is really useful. And that troubled water, Mars and Cancer, I just love this. Is just so perfect for this new moon. So making the most of it, the caution is acting from fear. I mean, we're in a time of a lot of change. Uranus is in Taurus. The ground feels shaky. It's like there are earthquakes all the time under our feet, but we still have to move forward. We are here for a reason. We've been incarnated at this time for some purpose. Everyone has a purpose. So avoid staying stuck, grounding in, and emotional outbursts with that Mars sextile Uranus are also possible. Mars and Cancer sextile Uranus. So really watch, stay in tune with your body. Use this time to like really get in touch with your body so you can see the cues and the signals of when your emotions are starting to boil within you. Mercury in Gemini, Venus in Gemini, gossip, gossip, gossip. Yeah, so try to avoid that because what you say may come back to haunt you when Mercury goes retrograde. Yes, it may. Also avoid overspending, as I mentioned. The advice is to slow down, attend to your finances, enjoy the sensual pleasures, write yourself a love letter. So Taurus is about self-esteem. And yeah, so it's about, building your self-esteem internally. And there's also Ceres, the asteroid, is in Taurus, just entered Taurus recently, and speaks to nutrition and how it's a goddess of agriculture, how we nurture ourselves. If you've let your pants get a little tight, over COVID, be kind to yourself, love yourself through this, and make the necessary changes to get back to where you want to be now that we're starting to come out of this. But be careful. Jupiter is going into Pisces, and Pisces season is really related closely to COVID. So I'm worried about people bursting out of their houses, mixing. I went to this event yesterday where it was music outside. It was lovely. We were all vaccinated, but there were some really older people here and they were hugging. So, I mean, I really don't think we should start hugging yet. I mean, people are going to do what they want to do, but watch what's going on in India with the variant. Is no oxygen, the variant, what have you. I'm concerned that we'll see some kind of resurgence of the virus because of people bursting out and thinking it's over when it's not really over. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about what this means for you. Okay, let's go to, oh, I'm talking a long time. I better keep this moving. Okay, so if you are in Aries, I want you to listen for your sun sign and your rising sign. So if you are in Aries, this new moon is in your second house of finances and values. So really good time, especially for you to think about making money moves and how you're going to build your wealth, save things. If you're a Taurus, this is in your first house of the self, the identity. Uranus is here. Like, what changes are you making for yourself in order to break free of structure? So I am a walking, breathing Uranus transit, and that Saturn-Uranus square, yes, it did. When my sun is at 12 Taurus, and so is my Saturn. And the day Saturn squared my Saturn was the day I decided it was time for me to release my corporate career. So yes, I did. That was right near the Aries new moon. So I use these new moon cycles for that. So if you're a Gemini, this is in your 12th house of endings and solitude. And it's a really good time to take care of your mental health. Geminis should really, really, really get grounded. Get out of your head and into your heart with this energy is the medicine. And your friends can help with healing. Yeah, I like that. Okay, Cancers and Cancer risings. This new moon is in your 11th house of friends and groups, also hopes and dreams. Whenever there's a new moon in your 11th house, it is time for you to make new moon wishes. Also in Aquarius, new moon wishes. The minute the new moon goes into at 11, I think 11:59, I'm going to be wishing myself silly. And yes, I am. And I've already put it out there about Astrology Hub, but this is just a wonderful new moon you can just bring things to you. Taurus is a receptive sign. It's about bringing stuff down and being embodied. So yes. Get a lottery ticket. Why not? Yeah, Jupiter in your 8th house of shared resources. Okay, Leo, it is in your 10th house. New starts around your career, around your around your career, around your calling, around your status, reputation. Yeah. So really think about, are you happy in your career? What do you want to do to change? Do you want to make more money? Are you going to ask for that raise? What are you going to do? Mercury, Venus, the money planet, is in your house of hopes and dreams. Virgo, the 9th house. What new skills do you want to learn? 9th house of expansion. Yes. Also, making sure to take good care of your health, Virgos, as Saturn is in your 6th house of health. Yeah, anything comes up, go straight to the doctor. Libra in the 8th house of the shadow, the basement, shared resources. So this could be a time to think about intimacy and also go into the basement, bring up the shadow, look at how you really are rather than just how you like to perceive yourself. Libra may like to be a little detached or keep things light. This is a time for you to go within and get deep. Scorpio, it is in your 7th house opposing you, a new start to your relationships, partnerships. This is also the house of open enemies. So maybe, you know, there's something you may want to change and let go of with that. And yes, but who knows? Yeah, well, I don't think Scorpios should have any problems bringing sexy back to long-term relationships, or maybe what you want to take the relationship you're in to the next level. Yes. Okay, Sagittarius. It's all about your health, your habits, your daily life. Sagittarius people like to live loud, live large, as Jupiter rules your sign, the planet of expansion. It's at 29 degrees in your third. I mean, Sagittarius are known to be blunt. You might want to muzzle yourself for the next month, because at this 29 degrees of Aquarius, you could say stuff that, I mean, things just pop off. Be careful, Sagittarius. Yeah, but anything with your health, go straight to the doctor. Okay. Ooh, Capricorn. It's in your house of romance, creativity, children, things we grow. It's the house of joy. So, yeah, get your flirt on, Capricorn. Yes. I like this for you with your partner, or if you're single with someone new. There could be an opportunity to start some romance. And you have been through it, Capricorn, with, you know, the parade of planets through 2020 with Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto, like transforming the structures of your life. It did happen for all of us, but you really, really went through it as Capricorns over the last many years. You're finally starting to get some lightness to your being, and this new moon trines that Saturn Pluto conjunction, which heralded COVID and all that. So there's an opportunity here. There's ease of flow for you to bring creativity to you. Okay, and Aquarius, this is all about the home. Do you want to redecorate? Do you want to move? Do you want to bring some kindness and gentleness to your to your um to your family life? How do you want to build security here? Pisces, last but not least, this is about communication, Pisces. Journaling. I mean, with Mercury and Gemini and Venus and Gemini, you can really bring out the inner poet and, yeah, beautifully express yourself through writing or words. And yeah, that is really nice for you to have this. Get in touch with your siblings. Have a nice time with them is a great thing to do. Also, yeah, get out of your head and into your heart with this new moon in the new moon in the third house. And that is it. We're back to Aries. Wonderful. And then I'm going to, okay, we're almost done. Whew, I feel like I've been talking a long time. Okay. So I have a new moon ritual. I'm going to wait until tomorrow when the moon is in Gemini, or the next day, because that hard closing aspect of the moon square Jupiter, the last thing I need is more overindulgence. I'm going to wait to do my new moon ritual where the closing aspect is going to be a softer one, and I'll share what that is. Oh, let me look at the chart. So Gemini closing aspect is going to be, I believe, a trine. Oh, that might be a square to Neptune. Anyway, see, this is that Gemini energy getting distracted and bringing in unnecessary unnecessary information. about what the closing aspect is. You can do your new moon ritual when you want to, but I like to let a little light come through. So bring in the elements. So I like to have a candle for the fire, crystals, flowers. I always have some kind of flowers on my table where I do my writing and my stuff. Roses is this week. Air, a journaling practice. Always, 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 I do some journaling, or just have quiet time if you want. This is the silent one. Water, I pick oracle cards for the new moon. What do I need to know? How can I embody this energy? And meditation is always a good idea. Oh, and a bath for Taurus loves a bath. Yeah, so I always set intentions, and at least three, couple short and one long range. I already told you my long range, and short ones are going to be about, my taxes and other things about money stuff, and getting embodied, really slowing down. My life has been going so fast. I have got to slow down and prepare for eclipse season. So think about what rituals and routines will support you during these uncertain times. These are prompts for journaling, oracle cards, or just thinking about. Where in your life are you called to make changes to improve your well-being? This is an excellent question to ask with your oracle cards, as well as what stories need to go and how will you build security and material abundance for yourself. And then here are some resources. So my admin will load the slide deck up some point, probably today, maybe tomorrow. But you can click on these links. So I recommend getting my Setting Intentions with the Moon ebook. You can either go to www.astrologybyceleste.com and you can download it from the home page, or you can download it from here, but it has worksheets for April, May, and June, and guidance on how to use the moon to set intentions and bring things to life. I talk about those larger cycles. Dietrich Pessin is an astrologer who discovered these lunar gestational cycles, saw the repeating pattern. Astrology is about pattern recognition, and talked about how you can bring things into your life with the larger 2.5 years, 2.5 year, 27-month cycles, and 2.5 and 2 3/4 year, whatever. It's 27 months. Moonology is a great book gives you guidance on how to set intentions and whatnot. New Moon Astrology. Those are other resources. And I always use Solar Fire software. It is for astrologers. I highly recommend it. It is amazing. So where to find me? You can subscribe to my website. And then I send out new moon, full moon guidance. I give I love to treat my subscribers to goodies and update on, the bigger cycles and things. I talk with them about, the Saturn-Uranus squares or anything I think that's really important to have their attention to. But I usually send 2 emails a month. And then Moon Mastery 101, it is closed. I am teaching my students. I have a wonderful class of students. We are learning deeper about astrology and using the moon to bring things into your life. And yeah, as always, book a personal reading with the eclipse season. This is such a great time. And the Saturn-Uranus squares, especially if you're feeling like something's being pulled out from under your feet, you don't know exactly what, but book a reading and I can give you insights on what your karmic story is calling for. Book an event. I can come with your friends and we can talk about astrology and talk about your signatures. And yes, you can email me or see my website about that. And I also offer coaching programs. So I've had, over 20 years in corporate America. I am I've mentored people for many years. I have management experience. I can help you with your career goals. And if you want to work with me over 3 months or a year, yes. And every Sunday, Instagram Live, 9:30 a.m. I also, talk to other people, and I'll always share those as well. But I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube here. Instagram is my main platform where I do my lives, where I talk about the current events and the moon, what's going on with the moon that week. I also pop on occasionally and read cards for people and talk about whatever so floats my boat. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful and informative. Use this new moon to slow down, ground, get embodied, get ready, because prepare to take off. It is going to be a wild summer, but you can do it. Stay strong. Okie dokie. Okay, now let me stop recording, stop sharing.